You are sitting in a waiting room, hoping God will call your name and grant your wish. You have been waiting for years. Ernest Holmes revealed the brutal truth. You will wait forever, because God is waiting for you. You are not a petitioner. You are the operant power. The universal law is an engine that is currently idling in neutral. It has infinite horsepower, but no driver. It cannot move until you shift the gear. The moment you stop begging and start operating, the waiting ends and the movement begins. The pain is the passivity, the feeling that you are a victim of divine timing or fate, perpetually standing outside the gates, knocking but never granted entry. You think patience is a virtue. Often it is just fear disguised as piety. This is the reverse bridge. You have confused reverence with powerlessness, and in doing so you have made yourself small in the very universe that was designed to express itself through you. The ache in your chest is not divine silence. It is the frustration of an engine built to roar but never given fuel. You feel abandoned, but the truth is far more confronting. The universe has been waiting for your command, and you have been too terrified to give it. Holmes promises that when you realize the law works through you, not for you, everything shifts. You stop looking up at the sky with clasped hands and start looking at your hands themselves. These instruments of agency, these tools of divine operation. You take the wheel. The car moves instantly when you press the gas. The electricity does not flow until you flip the switch. The law does not create until you imprint the mold. This is not metaphor. This is mechanical reality. The waiting room dissolves the moment you stand up, walk to the door, and realize there was never a lock. Only your belief that you needed permission to leave. Your exhaustion is real, but it is the exhaustion of the wrong posture. You have been kneeling when you were meant to stand. You have been whispering when you were meant to speak. The promise is this: the moment you shift from beggar to operator, from hope to command, the entire machinery of creation aligns with your word, not because you have convinced a reluctant deity, but because you have finally understood your function in the cosmic design. In this video, we will execute the activation protocol, the precise methodology for shifting from passive hope to active command. This is not inspiration, this is instruction. We will decode the exact steps Holmes provided for operating the universal law with the same certainty an engineer operates a turbine. But there is a trap many fall into, and it is called the humble servant. Many people play small to be good, believing that self-denial is spiritual maturity. They shrink themselves, mistaking smallness for virtue. I will explain in part 4 why your smallness is not humility. It is an insult to the power that seeks to express through you. False modesty is just fear wearing a halo. Right now, I ask you to make your first act of operation. In the comments below, write the words, "I am the operator." This is not a phrase, it is a shift in identity. The moment you declare it, you are no longer waiting for the machine to acknowledge you. You are announcing that you are stepping into the control room. The engine is waiting for your hand on the throttle. Every person who writes those words is activating the circuit. The law does not respond to sincerity alone, it responds to definite declaration. Speak your position, claim your seat, subscribe to this channel, because we are not here to inspire you to wait more patiently. We are here to train you to operate with surgical precision. The sacred logic is not a collection of beautiful ideas, it is a technical manual for reality itself. If you are tired of sitting in the waiting room, it is time to walk into the operations center. The console is lit, the systems are live. The only question is, will you touch the controls, or will you continue to stare at them, hoping they will operate themselves? The decision, as always, has been yours. It is time to make it. Ernest Holmes taught a concept that obliterates the victim consciousness at its root. There is a power in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. Notice the verb he chose, use, not beg, not petition, not hope that it notices you, use it. This is the principle of co-creation, and it is the fulcrum upon which all spiritual engineering rests. The power is infinite, the power is impersonal, the power is waiting. It does not prefer one person over another. It does not have moods or favorites. It operates according to law, and law operates according to instruction. You are the instructor. Consider electricity. It is a force greater than you, coursing through the infrastructure of civilization, containing enough energy to light entire cities or stop a human heart. But it does not act on its own behalf. It sits in the wire, dormant, until you flip a switch. The switch is your agency. The electricity does not evaluate your worthiness, does not measure your prayers, does not wait for you to grovel. It responds to the mechanical completion of a circuit. The moment you flip the switch, the light comes on. Not because the electricity has been persuaded, but because you have fulfilled the conditions of the law. This is co-creation. You provide the direction, the power provides the force. Gravity is another example. It is greater than you. It holds planets in orbit and pulls oceans into rhythm. Yet when you learn the principle of balance, you can stand upright, walk across a beam, even fly in an aircraft that appears to defy the very force that grounds you. You are not overcoming gravity. You are using its principles in cooperation with aerodynamics. You are working with the law, not against it. The law does not punish the person who falls off the beam. It simply continues operating according to its nature. Holmes understood that the divine mind functions in the same manner, as a principle, not a personality. A principle is a constant. It does not change based on circumstance. It does not have good days or bad days. 2 + 2 = 4 in every dimension of reality, for every person at every time. The law of mind is no different. When you think health, the law produces health. When you think lack, the law produces lack. It is not judging your thoughts, it is printing them. You are not convincing the law to do something it doesn't want to do. You are activating the law to do what it always does. Create the effect of the cause you have set into motion. Many people misunderstand this and imagine they are powerless until the divine decides to intervene. This is the theology of helplessness. Holmes shattered it with the precision of a sledgehammer against glass. He said you can use the power, not someday when you are pure enough, not if you are lucky, not if the stars align. Now, because the power is not withheld from you, it is within you. It is the substance of your mind. It is the current running through your consciousness. The only question is, are you flipping the switch, or are you sitting in the dark complaining that the power does not love you? This is why so many prayers fail. They are not prayers, they are complaints disguised as requests. Please God, if it is your will, maybe consider helping me with this problem I have been suffering with for years. This is not operating the law. This is hoping the law will operate itself out of pity. But the law does not pity. It does not have emotions. It has function. If you do not use it, it sits dormant. It is not punishing you with its silence. It is awaiting your instruction with the infinite patience of a principle that cannot be exhausted. Holmes teaches that the universe is not a monarchy where God is a king who grants favors to the chosen few. It is a democracy of consciousness where every mind has equal access to the creative principle. The beggar and the king both use the same law. The difference is not in the law's availability, it is in their understanding of their role. The beggar believes he must convince. The king knows he must command. The law does not care which posture you take. It simply mirrors the conviction behind your thought. If you think like a beggar, you receive a beggar's results. If you think like an operator, you receive an operator's results. This is the great secret hidden in plain sight. You are already using the law right now. You have always been using it. Every condition in your life is the output of the input you have been feeding into the universal calculator. If you do not like the results, you do not need a new calculator. You need new inputs. The machine is not broken. Your understanding of your role is broken. You think you are the customer waiting for service. Holmes reveals you are the engineer at the console. The machine is waiting for you to punch in the numbers. Therefore, co-creation is not a mystical partnership where you do a little and God does the rest. It is a mechanical partnership where you provide the blueprint and the law provides the construction. You are not sharing the work, you are dividing the function. The law cannot think, it can only create. You cannot create, you can only think. Together the system is complete. But if you do not think, if you do not give the law a clear, definite instruction, then nothing is created. The power remains potential. The engine remains idling. The waiting room remains occupied. This is why Holmes is so emphatic: you can use it. Not you can ask it to consider using itself on your behalf. You can use it, the way you use a tool, the way you use a system, the way you use electricity, gravity, mathematics. You are the operant power. The law is the operational power. The operation occurs when the two fulfill their respective functions. You think, the law creates. You command, the law obeys. This is not arrogance. This is architecture. Stop waiting for the power to notice you. It has been waiting for you to notice it. Stop hoping the law will make an exception for your case. The law does not make exceptions. It makes effects from causes. You are the cause. Your thought is the seed. The law is the soil. If you plant weeds, you harvest weeds. If you plant wheat, you harvest wheat. The soil does not care. It grows whatever you plant with absolute fidelity. This is not a test of your worthiness. This is a demonstration of the law's reliability. Holmes strips the superstition from spirituality and reveals the science underneath. The power in the universe is greater than you are, but it is not separate from you. It is the substance of your own mind, the electricity in your own consciousness, the creative force that you have been sitting on like a throne you did not know you occupied. You can use it. Not tomorrow, not when you are ready. Now, because it has been ready since the beginning. It is you who must step into readiness, not through purification but through recognition. The moment you recognize that you are the operant power, the waiting ends. The law does not start working. You start working with the law. The engine does not start running, you start driving the engine. The electricity does not become available. You flip the switch and discover it was always available. This is the central concept. The power is here. The power is neutral. The power is waiting. And you are the one who decides whether it remains dormant or becomes dynamic. You are not the servant of the law. You are the operator of the law. And the law, like all principles, does not have opinions about your operation. It simply responds, perfectly, mechanically, every single time. Now we must establish the unshakable logic that makes this principle irrefutable. Imagine a calculator sitting on your desk. It is a device of immense computational power. It can solve complex equations in milliseconds, perform operations that would take a human hours by hand, and deliver answers with perfect accuracy. But if you sit in front of that calculator, close your eyes, clasp your hands, and pray for the answer to appear on the screen, what happens? Nothing. The screen remains blank, not because the calculator lacks power, but because it lacks input. The calculator does not operate on hope. It does not respond to sincerity. It does not measure your desperation or reward your patience. It is a system that requires a specific action. You must punch in the numbers, you must press the buttons, you must hit the equals key. Only then does the calculator execute its function. Only then does the power within the device convert your input into output. The machine has been ready the entire time. It was your participation that was missing. This is the exact relationship you have with the universal law. You are the operator. The law is the calculator. The law contains infinite computational power, the ability to transform thought into form, to convert mental patterns into physical conditions, to take the invisible blueprint of your consciousness and construct it into visible reality. But if you do not provide input, the law remains idle. It sits there, humming with potential, waiting for you to engage it. It is not withholding its power. It is waiting for your instruction. The blank screen is not a rejection, it is a request. What do you want me to calculate? This is why begging does not work. Begging is staring at the calculator and hoping it will guess what you need. You are projecting your desire onto the machine without pressing any buttons. You are treating the system as if it has intuition, as if it will read your mind and deliver results based on the intensity of your longing. But the law does not work that way. It is a principle, not a person. It does not interpret, it executes. It does not feel sympathy, it processes instructions. If you do not give it an instruction, it has nothing to process. Consider the precision required to operate a calculator. If you want to calculate 23 multiplied by 7, you cannot simply think about 23 and 7 and expect the calculator to intuit your intention. You must press 2, then 3, then the multiplication symbol, then 7, then equals. Every step must be deliberate. Every input must be clear. If you press the wrong buttons, you get the wrong answer. Not because the calculator has failed, but because your input was inaccurate. The machine is flawless. The operator must learn to match that precision. Holmes teaches that the same logic applies to your use of the law. If you want a 20% increase in income, you cannot vaguely wish for more money. That is like pressing random buttons and hoping the calculator understands. You must punch in the exact numbers. I accept a 20% increase in my income now. You must define the equation. You must be specific, definite, and clear. The law, like the calculator, will take your input and process it with absolute fidelity. But it cannot process what you have not clearly entered. This is the partnership of logic. The calculator provides the power. You provide the input. Neither can function without the other. A calculator with no operator is just an inert object. An operator with no calculator is limited to manual computation. But when the two come together, when you engage the system with deliberate input, the result is instantaneous and precise. The calculator does not delay, it does not doubt, it does not second guess. It computes, and the law operates in exactly the same manner. Therefore, the reason most people fail to demonstrate their desires is not that the law is broken, it is that they have never learned to operate it. They are sitting in front of the most powerful computational system in existence, staring at a blank screen, wondering why nothing is happening. Meanwhile, they have not pressed a single button. They have not entered a single clear instruction. They are waiting for the machine to do their part of the job, but the machine cannot think for you. It can only create from the thoughts you give it. This is the unshakable logic. The law is a responder, not an initiator. It does not create on its own. It creates in response to your mental input. If you input fear, it calculates fear-based results. If you input lack, it calculates lack-based conditions. If you input abundance, it calculates abundance-based manifestations. The law is neutral. It does not favor one type of input over another. It simply processes what you give it and delivers the corresponding output. This is not mysticism. This is mathematics. Holmes insisted on this mechanical precision because he wanted to strip the magic and superstition from spiritual practice. He wanted people to understand that the universe is not a wish-granting entity that might or might not respond based on its mood. The universe is a law-governed system that responds with total consistency to the thoughts you impress upon it. When you understand this, you stop hoping and start operating. You stop praying for the calculator to work and start pressing the buttons. The power has always been available. The calculator has always been on. The law has always been responsive. What has been missing is your deliberate engagement with the system. You have been a passive observer when you were meant to be an active operator. You have been asking the machine to do your thinking when your thinking is the only input the machine can process. This is why Holmes says you can use the power, because the power is not a gift you must earn. It is a tool you must learn to operate. And just as you would never doubt the calculator's ability to deliver the correct answer once you have entered the equation properly, you must not doubt the law's ability to deliver the correct manifestation once you have entered your thought properly. The doubt is not about the law, it is about your input. Did you press the buttons clearly? Did you enter the full equation? Did you hit equals with conviction, or did you hesitate halfway through, unsure of your right to use the machine? The law is not the variable. You are. This is the partnership of logic. You think, the law creates. You input, the law computes. You command, the law obeys. The system is flawless. The operator must rise to meet the precision of the system. When you do, the waiting room disappears. The blank screen fills with the answer. The engine roars to life. Not because the power has finally decided to cooperate, but because you have finally decided to operate. The calculator is on your desk. The equation is waiting. And the only question remaining is, will you press the buttons? Before you can operate the law with precision, you must enter the correct state of consciousness. This is not a matter of mood or feeling. This is a matter of authority. The law does not respond to your emotions. It responds to your conviction. If you approach the console with the trembling hands of a servant, the law will process that trembling and return results that match your sense of powerlessness. If you approach with the steady hand of an operator who knows the system, the law will process that certainty and return results that match your command. The required state is authority. Stand up straight. This is not symbolic. Your body is the physical extension of your consciousness, and when you collapse your posture, you collapse your command. A person hunched in supplication is broadcasting a signal. I am small. I am beneath this power. I am hoping for mercy. The law reads this signal and outputs accordingly, but a person standing upright, shoulders back, spine aligned, is broadcasting a different signal. I am the operator. I am in my rightful position. I am engaging this system with confidence. The law reads this signal and outputs accordingly. Your posture is part of your instruction. Speak clearly. When you engage the law, your words must be definite, not hopeful, not tentative, not buried under qualifiers like maybe or if it's possible. The law is a calculator. It cannot process ambiguity. If you say, I hope things get better, the law computes hope. Not the thing you want, but the state of hoping for it. You remain in hope. If you say, I accept that things are better now, the law computes acceptance, the state of having received. You move into the condition. Every word you speak is a button you press. Make sure you are pressing the ones that correspond to the result you want. Drop the beggar's bowl. Many people approach the law as if they are asking for charity, holding out their bowl and hoping the universe will drop a coin into it. This is the posture of lack. The law does not hear your words. It reads your consciousness. If your consciousness is in the frequency of begging, the law delivers more situations to beg in. Holmes teaches that you are not a beggar. You are not asking for what you do not have. You are claiming what is already yours by law. The beggar's bowl is a prop from an old play you no longer need to perform. Put it down. Pick up the scepter. The scepter is the symbol of dominion, the instrument of command. When you operate the law, you are not petitioning a higher authority for permission. You are exercising the authority that is inherent in your position as a thinking being. The universe is not above you. It is within you. The power is not separate from you. It is the substance of your own consciousness. Therefore, when you speak your word into the law, you are not asking the king for a favor. You are the king, issuing a decree. This is not arrogance. This is recognition of your function in the creative process. Authority is not loud. It is not aggressive. It is quiet, certain, and immovable. It is the voice of someone who knows the system so well that they do not need to raise their voice to be heard. When you flip a light switch, you do not shout at the electricity. You simply flip the switch with calm confidence, knowing the circuit will complete. This is the state of authority, calm, definite, and free of doubt. You are not trying to convince the law to work. You are engaging the law with the certainty that it is already working. This state of authority is cultivated through understanding. The more you understand the mechanical nature of the law, the less you feel like you are gambling and the more you feel like you're operating. A pilot does not hope the plane will fly. The pilot knows the principles of aerodynamics and trusts that when the correct actions are taken, flight is inevitable. You must develop the same relationship with the law. You are not hoping your word will work. You know the principles of thought and creation, and you trust that when you enter the correct input, the output is inevitable. Therefore, before you speak your word, before you engage the protocol, take a moment to stand in authority. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the weight of your body as the anchor of your consciousness in physical reality. Straighten your spine, breathe deeply, and remind yourself of this truth. You are not a beggar. You are not a victim. You are not hoping for a miracle. You are the operant power. The law is waiting for your instruction, and you are about to give it. Do not perform this as ritual. Perform this as recognition. You are not creating authority. You are remembering it. You are not pretending to have power. You are acknowledging the power you have always had. The moment you step into this state, the dynamic between you and the law shifts. You are no longer outside the system looking in. You are inside the system, at the controls, and the machine is ready. This is the mental preparation required before execution. Without it, your words will be weak. With it, your words will be law. The difference is not in the words themselves. The difference is in the consciousness from which they are spoken. A beggar's words bounce off the surface. An operator's words penetrate the substance. The law is always listening. The question is, are you speaking as a beggar, or are you speaking as the operator? Stand up straight. Speak clearly. Drop the beggar's bowl. Pick up the scepter. You are about to engage the most powerful system in the universe, and it is waiting for your authority. Now we execute the activation protocol. This is the precise methodology for shifting from passive hope to active command, from input to output, from thought to manifestation. This is not theory. This is engineering. Holmes provided the blueprint. We are now following it with mechanical precision. There are 3 steps: the input, the processing, and the output. Each step must be executed fully, or the circuit remains incomplete. Step 1. The input, the definiteness. The law cannot compute vague instructions. If you tell a calculator, "Make me happy," it has no equation to solve. The law operates in the same manner. You must provide a clear, specific, measurable input. Do not say, "I want to be happy." That is a feeling, not a blueprint. The law does not build feelings. It builds conditions. Tell the law what condition will produce the feeling. Say, "I accept a 20% increase in income now." This is definite. This is measurable. This is an equation the law can compute. The input is your declaration of what you are choosing to experience, not what you hope might happen, not what you wish could occur if circumstances align. What you are choosing right now, in this moment. The law does not operate in the future. It operates in the eternal present. When you say, "I will have abundance," you are instructing the law to keep abundance in the future. It obeys. You remain in waiting. When you say, "I accept abundance now," you are instructing the law to deliver the condition in the present. It obeys. You move into receiving. Be specific. Punch in the numbers. If you want health, define what health looks like for you. Is it the absence of pain? The presence of energy? The ability to walk 3 miles without fatigue? Give the law a clear image. If you want a relationship, define the qualities. The law is not psychic. It is mechanical. It builds what you specify. If you give it a blurry blueprint, it will deliver a blurry result. If you give it a precise blueprint, it will deliver a precise result. The input determines the output, always. Step 2. The processing, the treatment. This is where you speak your word into the law. You are not praying to something outside yourself. You are impressing a pattern into the substance of mind. Holmes called this a treatment, a spiritual practice where you speak with authority and conviction, knowing that your word is now law. You stand in the state of authority we established in part 3.1, and you declare, "I know that this word is now law." It creates the condition. The universal mind receives this blueprint and begins construction immediately. Feel the gears engaging. This is not metaphor. When you speak your word with conviction, you are activating a process. The mental substance responds to your thought the way soil responds to a seed. The seed does not hope to grow. It begins growing the moment conditions are right. Your word is the seed. The law is the soil. The moment you plant the seed with definiteness, growth begins. You may not see it immediately, but the process is underway. The gears have engaged. The machine is processing your input. During the treatment, you must eliminate doubt. Doubt is a counter-input. It is pressing the clear button on the calculator after you have entered the equation. If you say, "I accept abundance now," and then immediately think, "But what if it doesn't work?" you have just entered a new equation. The law does not judge which thought is real. It processes both. The result is confusion and delay. Therefore, during the treatment, your consciousness must be singular. You speak your word, and you hold it. You do not waver. You do not question. The treatment is complete when you feel a shift. Not an emotional high, not excitement. A shift, a settling, a sense of, "It is done." This is the signal that the input has been received and the processing has begun. You do not need to repeat the treatment endlessly. Once the equation is entered and the equals button is pressed, the calculator computes. Trust the system, trust the law, trust your word. The processing is not something you do. It is something the law does in response to what you have done. Step 3. The output, the receipt. This is the most misunderstood step, and it is where most operators fail. After you have entered the input and initiated the processing, you must act as if the output has already been delivered. Not because you are pretending, because in the realm of law, it has been delivered. The moment you give the law a clear instruction, the law begins manifesting it. The time delay between cause and effect is simply the gestation period required for the invisible to become visible. But in the realm of mind, it is already done. When you enter an equation into a calculator and hit equals, you do not stare at the screen in doubt, wondering if the calculator will deliver the answer. You trust the screen. You know the answer is coming because you know the system works. You must develop the same trust with the law. The moment you speak your word with authority, you assume it is done. You do not wait anxiously for evidence. You do not check the mailbox every hour. You live as if the condition is already yours, because in consciousness, it is. This does not mean you sit idle. It means you take the actions that correspond to the condition you have claimed. If you have accepted a 20% increase in income, you do not sit on the couch waiting for a check to appear. You move in the world as someone who has received that increase. You make decisions from that place. You spend wisely from that place. You carry yourself as someone whose financial condition has shifted. The law reads your actions as confirmation of your word. Your behavior completes the circuit. The receipt is your acknowledgement that the transaction is complete. In the realm of mind, the moment you gave the law a clear instruction, it began creating. The physical manifestation is simply the final stage of a process that has already been initiated. You are not waiting for the law to start working. You are allowing the law to finish what you have started. This is why Holmes teaches that you must act as if, not as manipulation, but as alignment. You align your behavior with the consciousness you have claimed. Do not micromanage the universe. This is where the operator becomes the anxious beggar again. You have given the order. The staff is working on it. Do not call the kitchen every 5 minutes to check on your meal. Do not second-guess the chef. Do not rewrite the order halfway through preparation. You place the order with clarity. Now, let the system execute. The law does not need your supervision. It needs your trust. If doubt comes, you simply return to step 2. You re-enter the treatment. You reaffirm your word, but you do not panic. You do not collapse back into the waiting room. This is the activation protocol. The input, define what you want with precision. The processing, speak your word with authority and feel the gears engage. The output, assume it is done and act accordingly. These 3 steps form a complete circuit. The law is the engine, you are the driver. The input is the gear you shift. The processing is the engine's response. The output is the movement forward. The car does not move until you shift the gear, but once you do, the movement is inevitable. Holmes gave you this protocol because he understood that most people fail, not because the law is unreliable, but because they do not operate it correctly. They skip steps, they enter vague inputs, they doubt during processing. They panic when the output is not instant. But when you follow the protocol with precision, the law responds with precision. Not sometimes, not for special people, always. For everyone. Because the law is not a person who plays favorites. It is a principle that operates consistently. Execute this protocol, stand in authority, enter your input with clarity, speak your treatment with conviction, assume your receipt with certainty, and then watch as the blank screen fills with the answer you have requested, not because you are lucky, because you have learned to operate the calculator. Now we address the fatal mistakes that sabotage even the most sincere operators. The first and most insidious is what Holmes called the humble servant, the false belief that smallness is spiritual. Many people have been conditioned to think that wanting, claiming, or demanding anything for themselves is selfish or arrogant. They shrink. They apologize for their desires. They whisper their prayers as if they are afraid to disturb the universe. They think this is humility. Holmes reveals it is cowardice dressed in religious clothing. The first mistake within this trap is false piety. This is the voice that says, "Who am I to demand this? Who am I to claim abundance when others suffer? Who am I to use the power for my own benefit?" This voice sounds noble. It sounds selfless. But Holmes teaches that this voice is not coming from the divine. It is coming from fear. It is the ego disguised as the saint. True humility is recognizing that you are a center of God consciousness, a focal point through which the infinite expresses itself. False piety is pretending you are less than that to avoid the responsibility of your power. You are God's way of expressing himself. Read that again. You are not a separate entity hoping to catch God's attention. You are the mechanism through which the divine mind experiences individuality, creativity, and expansion. When you play small, when you deny your desires, when you refuse to use the power, you are not honoring God. You are blocking God. You are a channel that has closed itself. You are a wire that has severed its connection to the current. The light wants to shine through you, but you have convinced yourself that staying dim is holy. Demanding your good is honoring the source. When you accept abundance, you are not taking from anyone else. The universe is not a pie where your slice reduces someone else's portion. The universe is an infinite bakery that bakes new pies on demand. When you claim health, you are not stealing health from the sick. You are demonstrating that health is available to all who operate the law. Your abundance is proof of the law's reliability. Your joy is evidence of the law's generosity. Your success is a lighthouse for others who are lost in the fog of limitation. False humility is just fear wearing a mask. It is the fear of being seen, the fear of being judged, the fear of being powerful. Because if you are powerful, you are responsible. If you are the operator, you can no longer blame God, fate, or circumstance for your conditions. You must admit that your life is the output of your consciousness. This is terrifying for the ego, which prefers to be the victim because victimhood is safe. Victimhood requires nothing of you, but operatorship requires everything. It requires you to stand up, take the wheel, and drive. Holmes is uncompromising on this point. Your smallness is not a virtue. It is a violation of your function. You were designed to be a conduit for infinite power, and when you pinch that conduit shut with false modesty, you are not serving the divine. You are starving it. The universe is trying to give you everything, but you keep saying, "No, thank you. I don't deserve it. I'm just a humble servant." Meanwhile, the universe is shouting, "You are not the servant. You are the operator. Take the power I have placed in your hands and use it." The second fatal mistake is blaming the tool. This occurs when the operator enters an equation, receives a result they do not like, and then declares, "The law doesn't work," or worse, "God said no." This is the equivalent of punching the wrong numbers into a calculator, getting an incorrect answer, and blaming the calculator. The law never fails. The law cannot fail. It is a principle, and principles do not have off days. If you did not get the result you wanted, it is because your input was flawed, not because the system is broken. When you say, "God said no," you are personifying the law. You are imagining a deity who evaluates your request and decides whether you are worthy. But the law does not evaluate. It does not have opinions. It does not say yes or no. It says, "Here is the effect of the cause you set into motion." If you thought lack, you received lack. Not because the law punished you, but because the law processed your thought. If you thought with doubt, you received doubt-based results. Not because the law failed, but because the law succeeded. It gave you exactly what you asked for. Check your belief. This is the most important diagnostic when something does not manifest. What was your underlying belief while you were speaking your treatment? Were you truly standing in authority, or were you secretly hoping the law would work this time? Hope is not certainty. Hope is doubt with a smile. The law does not respond to your words, it responds to the consciousness behind your words. If your words say abundance, but your consciousness says, "I don't really believe this," the law processes the consciousness, not the words. The output matches the real input, not the verbal input. Check your persistence. How long did you hold the vision? Did you speak your word once and then immediately collapse back into worry? Did you enter the equation and then press clear 5 minutes later because you saw no immediate change? The law requires consistency. Not because it is testing you, but because you are impressing a pattern into substance. If you draw a line in sand and then immediately erase it and draw a different line, no clear image forms. The law is waiting for you to decide what you want and hold that decision long enough for it to solidify into form. The law never fails, the operator does. This is not condemnation. This is empowerment. If the law could fail, you would be helpless. You would be at the mercy of a system that works sometimes and not others. But because the law is consistent, you have total control. Every failure is feedback. Every delay is a signal that your input needs refinement. You are not waiting for the law to change. You are learning to operate it with greater precision. Take responsibility and try again. Adjust your input. Clarify your belief. Extend your persistence and watch as the law delivers exactly what you have now correctly entered. Now we refine your understanding with the Master's direct instruction. Ernest Holmes said, "Man is a center of God consciousness, not a servant of God consciousness, not a beggar hoping for God consciousness, a center, a focal point, a location where the infinite becomes individual. You are not trying to reach God. God is expressing as you. This is not blasphemy. This is the fundamental teaching of the science of mind. You are the individualization of universal intelligence. Therefore, when you think, God thinks through you. When you speak, God speaks through you. When you claim your good, God claims it as you." Holmes continues, "You are the only one who can use your mind. No priest can do it for you. No guru can do it for you. No amount of external ritual can substitute for the internal operation of your consciousness. The power is within you as your own mind, and no one else has access to it. This is both the terror and the glory of your position. You cannot outsource your operation. You cannot hire someone to flip your switch. You must do it yourself. But the moment you do, the entire universe responds. This is the Master's refinement. Stop looking outside yourself for permission, validation, or power. Everything you need is already within you. The universal mind is not in the sky. It is in your skull. The law is not in a temple. It is in your thought. The power is not in a book. It is in your word. You have been searching for the treasure while standing on top of the chest. Holmes is telling you to look down. Dig where you stand. The gold is beneath your feet. Therefore, the refinement of your practice is the refinement of your self-concept. You must stop seeing yourself as the small, separate, powerless human hoping the big, distant, powerful God will notice you. You must start seeing yourself as the localized expression of that very God, operating the creative law with the authority that comes from knowing who you are. Not who you pretend to be, not who you hope to become, who you are, right now, a center of God consciousness, the operant power. When you operate from this understanding, everything shifts. You do not ask, you declare. You do not hope, you know. You do not wait, you act. Because you are not the servant, you are the operator, and the law is waiting for your command. To validate this principle through modern language, let us connect the operation of the law to the architecture of computer systems. The universe is the backend, the server. You are the front end, the user. The user interface is your thought. The backend contains infinite computational power, infinite storage, infinite processing speed. It is running constantly, waiting for requests. But it does not generate its own requests. It does not decide what to compute. It waits for the front end to send a query. You are the front end. In computer systems, the back end has no opinions. It does not care what data you request. It does not evaluate whether your query is good or bad. It simply processes the query and returns the corresponding data. If you query the database for records of lack, it returns lack. If you query for records of abundance, it returns abundance. The back end is neutral. It is a system, and systems operate according to their programming. The law operates in exactly the same manner. The user interface is the layer where you interact with the system. In the metaphor, your thought is the UI. Every thought you think is a query you are sending to the universal backend. If your thoughts are vague, the backend returns vague results. If your thoughts are clear, the backend returns clear results. If your thoughts are contradictory, querying abundance in the morning and lack in the afternoon, the backend processes both queries and returns mixed results. The backend does not sort through your queries and pick the best one. It processes all of them. Holmes decoded the API of reality. An API, an application programming interface, is the set of rules and protocols that allow the front end to communicate with the back end. If you do not know the API, you cannot access the data. You can sit in front of the computer all day, but without the correct commands, the back end remains inaccessible. Holmes revealed the API. Your thought is the command. Your belief is the authentication. Your word is the request. When you use the correct syntax, clarity, conviction, persistence, the backend responds instantly. You must send the right API call to get the data. In programming, if you send a malformed request, the server returns an error or nothing at all. The same is true with the law. If you send a malformed thought, vague, doubtful, inconsistent, the law returns confusion or delay. Not because the law is broken, but because your request was poorly constructed. Learn the syntax, master the API, and the backend will deliver every piece of data you request with perfect reliability. This is not mysticism. This is systems architecture. The law is the most sophisticated operating system in existence, and you have been given root access. You are not hacking into someone else's system. You are the authorized user. The system is yours to operate. But you must learn the commands. You must understand the interface. You must send queries with precision. When you do, the backend responds. Not sometimes, every single time. Therefore, spirituality is not about reaching a distant God. It is about learning to operate the system you are already inside. You are not outside the network, looking in. You are logged in. You have full permissions. The only question is, do you know how to use the terminal? Holmes taught you the commands. The activation protocol is the syntax. The law is the back end. Your thought is the query, and the manifestation is the data returned from the server. Stop treating the universe like a mystery. It is a system, and systems can be learned, operated, and mastered. You are not at the mercy of the system. You are the user. And the system is waiting for your command. Now we validate this principle through lived experience. There was a woman who prayed for a home for 10 years with no result. Every night she knelt by her bed and asked God to provide her with a house. She was sincere, she was faithful, she was patient, and nothing happened. Year after year, she remained in the same small apartment, wondering why God had not answered her prayer. She thought perhaps she was not worthy. Perhaps she had not suffered enough. Perhaps it was not God's will. She accepted her powerlessness and continued to wait. Then she encountered the teachings of Ernest Holmes. She read that she was not a beggar waiting for God's charity. She was the operant power. The law was not withholding the house from her. She had been withholding the command from the law. She had been begging instead of operating. She had been hoping instead of instructing. The moment she understood this, everything changed. She stopped praying. She started declaring. She realized she had been operating from the consciousness of lack. Her prayers were essentially saying, "I do not have a house, and I need you to give me one." The law read this and returned the condition. You are correct, you do not have a house. She was affirming her lack every single night, and the law was faithfully manifesting that affirmation. She had been using the calculator perfectly. She had just been entering the wrong equation. Now she understood. She needed to change the input. She shifted from hope to order. She stopped asking for a house and started accepting one. She drew a detailed picture of the house she wanted. She selected the furniture, she chose the colors. She walked through each room in her imagination, feeling the texture of the walls, hearing her footsteps on the floor, smelling the air. She did not imagine this as a future event. She imagined it as a present reality. She declared, "I accept this house now. The law has heard my word and construction has begun." She did this with such conviction that her entire consciousness shifted. She stopped living as a woman without a home. She started living as a woman whose home was on its way. She made decisions from that place. She began researching neighborhoods. She looked at furniture catalogs. She acted as if the house was already hers, simply waiting for the physical manifestation to catch up with the mental reality. This was not pretending. This was operating the law. Within 3 months, she received a phone call. A distant relative had passed away and left her a house in their will. She had not known this relative well. She had no expectation of an inheritance, but the law does not care about your expectations or your logic. It cares about your consciousness. And her consciousness had shifted from I do not have to I accept. The law processed the new input and delivered the new output. The house was not a miracle, it was mathematics. When she walked into the house for the first time, she nearly collapsed. The layout matched her drawing. The colors were nearly identical to what she had chosen. The furniture the relative had left behind was in the style she had visualized. She had not manifested the house through cosmic coincidence. She had operated the law with precision. She had shifted from beggar to operator. She had stopped querying the backend for lack and started querying it for abundance. And the backend, as always, delivered exactly what she requested. This is not an isolated case. This is how the law works for everyone who learns to operate it correctly. The woman did not become more deserving in those 3 months. She did not suddenly catch God's attention. She learned the API, she sent the correct command, and the server responded. The law had been ready the entire time. It was her understanding that needed to catch up. The lesson is this: if you have been praying for something for years with no result, you are not a victim of divine neglect. You are an operator who has been entering the wrong input. Stop begging, start selecting, stop hoping, start commanding, stop waiting for the law to do your part, and start doing your part so the law can do its part. The back end is live. The system is operational. The only variable is you. And when you shift from the consciousness of the beggar to the consciousness of the operator, the waiting room dissolves. The blank screen fills. The house appears. Not because you finally convinced the universe to care about you, because you finally learned to use the power that has been yours all along. We arrive at the synthesis of power. Everything we have established, the calculator, the back end, the protocol, the authority, converges at a single point of truth. The throne is empty until you sit on it. The universe is not a kingdom ruled by a distant monarch. It is a kingdom ruled by consciousness, and every conscious being is a potential sovereign. But most people never take the throne. They stand outside the palace looking through the windows, assuming the throne is reserved for someone more worthy, more enlightened, more connected to the divine. Holmes tears down this illusion with surgical precision. The throne is yours. It has always been yours. It was built for you. You are not waiting for permission to sit on it. You are waiting for the courage to claim what is already yours. The moment you sit on that throne, the moment you recognize yourself as the operant power, the entire mechanism of creation aligns beneath your command, not because you have changed the law, but because you have changed your relationship to it. The power is not outside you waiting to be earned. The power is within you waiting to be recognized. The switch is on the wall. The current is in the wire. The engine is in the car. Everything is ready. The only thing missing is your decision to operate. And the moment you make that decision, the transformation is instantaneous. You do not become powerful. You recognize that you have always been powerful. You do not gain access to the law. You realize you have always had access. The transformation is not in the universe. The transformation is in your awareness. This is the synthesis. You are not separate from the power. You are the localized expression of it. You are not beneath the law. You are the operator of it. You are not waiting for God. God is waiting for you. The throne is empty because you are the one meant to occupy it, and the moment you sit down, the entire kingdom responds to your decree. The waiting room was always an illusion. There was never a line, there was never a gatekeeper. There was only your belief that you needed permission to walk through the door. Holmes has opened the door. He has shown you the throne. He has handed you the scepter. Now the only question is, will you sit down? This is the message of empowerment. The switch is on the wall. The power is in the wire. Why are you sitting in the dark? This is not a rhetorical question. This is the central confrontation of your existence. You have been sitting in the dark, complaining that the universe has not provided light, while the switch has been within arm's reach the entire time. Stand up, walk over, flip the switch. Let there be light. You have been told that you are small. You have been told that you are separate from the source. You have been told that you must earn, beg, or wait for the power to notice you. All of this is a lie. Not a lie told by malicious forces, but a lie told by ignorance, ignorance of the law, ignorance of your function, ignorance of who you are. Holmes has shattered that ignorance. He has revealed the blueprint. He has shown you the mechanics. Now you must act on what you know. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a creator of circumstance. Every condition in your life, wealth or poverty, health or sickness, joy or suffering, is the output of the thought patterns you have been running in the background of your consciousness. Most of these patterns are unconscious. You did not deliberately choose them. They were installed by culture, family, trauma, fear. But now you are aware. Now you know. And knowledge is responsibility. The law does not ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be deliberate. It does not require you to eliminate every negative thought. It requires you to consciously choose the dominant pattern. What you focus on expands. What you declare becomes law. What you accept becomes your reality. You are not fighting against the universe. You are programming it. Every thought is a line of code. Every word is a command. And the system is executing your program with absolute fidelity. Stop blaming the darkness. The darkness is not a force opposing you. The darkness is the absence of your action. You are the light. The moment you flip the switch, the moment you shift from passive hoping to active commanding, the darkness has no choice but to dissolve. Not because the darkness is weak, but because light is the presence of power, and darkness is merely the absence of it. You are not overcoming the darkness. You are simply turning on the light that was always available. Holmes is not offering you inspiration. He is offering you a manual. The science of mind is not poetry. It is engineering. You are not reading this to feel better. You are reading this to learn how to operate the most powerful system in existence. And the system is simple. Think with clarity. Speak with authority. Act with certainty. The law will handle the rest. It always has. It always will. Therefore, the message of empowerment is this. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle. You are not hoping for a breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. You are not asking the universe for power. You are the universe, localized into individual expression, holding infinite power in the form of conscious thought. The moment you recognize this, the game changes. You stop playing the victim. You start playing the creator. And the results shift from scarcity to abundance, from fear to certainty, from waiting to receiving. Now we issue the challenge and the final call to action. For the next 24 hours, you will conduct an experiment called Direct Order Day. This is not a suggestion. This is a protocol. For 24 hours, you will not ask for anything. You will not hope for anything. You will not wish for anything. You will command it. Every time you catch yourself slipping into the language of the beggar, you will stop, stand in authority, and reframe the statement as a decree. Do not say, I hope I feel better today. Say, I command peace in my body. Do not say, I wish my finances would improve. Say, I command order in my finances. Do not say, maybe things will work out. Say, I decree that things are working out now. Feel the difference. Notice the shift in your body. Notice the change in your energy. You are not pretending to have power. You are exercising the power you have always had. This experiment will reveal something critical. You have been operating the law your entire life. You have just been operating it unconsciously, with the language and consciousness of lack. For one day you will operate it consciously, with the language and consciousness of command. And you will see that the law responds differently, not because the law has changed, but because you have changed your input. The calculator has always been on. You are simply learning to press the correct buttons. At the end of the 24 hours, journal your experience. What shifted? What manifested? What did you notice about your internal state when you spoke as the operator instead of the beggar? This is not about achieving perfection in one day. This is about recognizing the difference in the quality of your consciousness. Once you feel that difference, you cannot unfeel it. Once you taste authority, you will never be satisfied with begging again. This channel, Sacred Logic, exists to train you in the operation of the law with precision. We are not here to inspire you with vague platitudes. We are here to give you the technical manual for reality. If you are serious about taking the throne, about flipping the switch, about becoming the operator you were designed to be, then subscribe to this channel. Every video is a training module. Every script is a refinement of your understanding. This is not entertainment, this is education. The final call to action is simple. Subscribe to sacred logic to take command. Not to learn more, but to operate more. Not to accumulate knowledge, but to execute power. The waiting room is behind you. The throne is in front of you. The switch is on the wall. And the only question remaining is, will you flip it? Ernest Holmes has given you the blueprint. The law is ready. The system is live. The calculator is on. The backend is processing. The throne is empty, and you are the one meant to occupy it. Stop waiting for God. God is waiting for you. You are the operant power, and the time to operate is now.